Welcome to the Soccer Locker. My name is Jesse Wright. I'll be your host for today's show. We have a fun show today. It is the playoff preview edition of the Soccer Locker, so we got a lot to get through. We're going to go through the girls' top 5, girls' player of the week, boys' top 5, boys' player of the week, and then look at all the sectional matchups and our increasingly popular goals of the week. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. But let's get right into it with the top 5 area girls soccer teams in our area. Coming in at number 5, they've been battling all season long. Some tough losses, some tough results, but at the end, they came out mid-Buckeye Conference champions, Mansfield Christian Flames. A record of 7-7-2, but I tell you what, they won when they needed to win, right? So they were a tough matchup with Mapleton, who they had a great game earlier in the season with, and then an incredible finals against Crestview and a double overtime thriller. So just really coming along at the right time. Started the season off a little rocky, gave up a lot of goals, but once tournament time hit, they turned it on and they are winning and have won at the right time. So I'm excited to see what does the future hold for Mansfield Christian in terms of the next postseason. I love a conference tournament, but now there's a new tournament to look at for them. But they are number 5. Number 4, OCC champs, the Madison Lady Rams. Again, similar to Mansfield Christian, a little bit of a rocky start, trying to find their identity a little bit, trying to see who's going to be the one that can step up and score some goals. But they, after a little bit of just kind of a slower start, have kind of found their niche here a little bit and have ended up winning one of the tougher conferences around in the OCC. An incredible game against New Philadelphia, and just really are starting to turn it on at the right time. We'll talk about them in a little bit, including some postseason stuff and their matchups here. But Lady Rams coming at number 4. Number 3, 8-4-3 Lexington, who beat those Lady Rams just not too long ago. And they just recently beat Bishop Hartley. I think the same could be said, as we said, about the previous two teams as well. This is a team, a little bit of a tougher opening season. It took a little bit to kind of find their identity. We've called them kind of an old, young varsity team. Have some juniors and seniors on the team, but for a lot of them, it's their first real significant varsity minutes. And so this is a team, I think the more they play, the better they have gotten throughout the year. And I think that's true now. And so come tournament time, certainly there's going to be some fun matchups in this Division II sectional, but we'll get to that. Coming at number 2 is the Clear Fork Lady Colts. They have been playing well, played a great game against number 2 in Division II. Granville Blue Aces were tied with them 1-1, tied from the majority of the game. Granville scores in the last 2 minutes of the game to go up 2-1, to get a solid win there. And so it was just a great competitive game. I think what this tells me about Clear Fork is they can play at a lot of different levels. Granville is a phenomenal team. This is a team that was in the state championship just a few years ago. Great record last year, a little bit of an early postseason loss for them. But Granville can play some soccer, and Clear Fork was right there with them for about 78 of those 80 minutes. I think Clear Fork was right there, and Granville did what they needed to do to win the game. But I like this Clear Fork team. But the clear-cut number 1 in our regular season rankings is the Ontario Lady Warriors. They have played a terrific schedule, some lockdown defense, some terrific goal scoring, and they are the MOAC Conference champions. So these girls have been playing a tough schedule and winning convincingly. Had a tough loss against Medina, but Medina is one of the top teams in the state of Ohio. And so I love what Ontario does. They pick up tough games. They want to see how they stack up against some of the best in the state of Ohio. They've beat all their conference opponents, Madison, Clear Fork, Lexington. They've done everything they've been asked to do locally. They won their conference, and so they are the clear number 1 in the girls' top 5 area soccer rankings. Now, one of the players, every week we love to just highlight some of those players who are just kind of going above and beyond and doing some incredible things. And we mentioned earlier those Mansfield Christian Flames who have been led by senior goal scorer Abby Little, who in the conference semifinals, in the Mid-Buckeye Conference semifinals against Mapleton, scored 2 goals in the 5-1 win. Abby Little's just been playing just a different level right now locally. Just whenever she gets the ball, she's a threat to score, threat to go forward, and just some terrific goals. I will say some of these goals against Mapleton may not be contenders for goals of the week, but certainly what Abby Little can do is really impressive. So Abby Little, our girls player of the week, and what a week she has had. Conference championship, conference semifinals with 2 goals in that. What a week for the Flames, and what a week for Abby Little. We will be right back. We're going to look at the boys' top 5 and the boys' player of the week, and we are going to get into the local tournament preview. We're going to have a lot of fun, so stick around. We'll be right back.
I got involved in officiating volleyball 8 years after I played Division I in college.
Saying yes to volleyball officiating will give you the privilege to be a part of one of the most exciting sports around.
I'm a speaker,
a builder,
I coach,
culinary arts,
auditor,
a firefighter.
For anyone contemplating becoming a volleyball official,
just go for it.
Take the plunge, open the door.
Say yes to officiating. Learn more about how to get involved at sayyes2officiating.com.
Welcome back to the Soccer Locker. It is time now to look at the boys area soccer rankings, the top 5 teams in the area. A little bit of a shakeup this week with no disrespect to Madison. In fact, these two teams will be meeting up soon. But I have moved Mansfield Christian into the top 5. Mid-Buckeye Conference champions, an impressive record. This is the type of team, they're not going to blow a lot of teams out. They're not going to win by a ton of goals. They don't score a ton of goals. They don't necessarily have a prolific goal scorer. But what they do have is an incredible defense and just gritty players. They are going to fight to the end regardless of who they're playing. So this right now is my number 5 team. This is a tough team. They're talented, they're young, they defend well. And I think when you can defend well at this level, it allows you to be in just about every single game. That's what we've seen with Mansfield Christian. So many 1-1, 2-1 results, just kind of where the games are just so close because they defend so well. So number 4, we have the Mid-Ohio Athletic Conference champions, the Ontario Warriors, who I believe have played the toughest schedule on the boys' side, have played all sorts of ranked opponents. The record is not incredibly impressive, but they are. They absolutely demolished a Lutheran West team that is very solid out of Cleveland, Ohio. Great result against them. They have played a loaded schedule and have done well. They've been in a lot of the games, not necessarily winning the games against the top opponents, but certainly competing, playing. And I think this is a very strong, very good team. And when you have an All-American up front who can score a lot of goals, that's something you kind of get to rely on as well. Ontario's number 4. Number 3, who beat Ontario pretty convincingly just a few weeks ago, is the Ashland Arrows. Ashland is one of those teams, I think there is a ton of talent on that team. And when they play well, look out. They are a talented, talented team. They can score a lot of goals. They've had a couple bad gaps in the middle of the season with some bad losses to Worcester, Perrysburg. You know, a couple bad losses by 4 or 5 goals, which you don't traditionally see out of a team like Ashland. But I think Ashland is they play some fun soccer. They're tough. They finish well. And they're going to be a big Division I opponent we'll be looking at in the sectional tournament in just a little bit. Coming in at number 2, and probably one of the best number 2s in the state of Ohio, is Lexington. Lexington finished the season strong with a good win against Ottawa Hills, beat Cleark. I mean, they've played a lot of quality teams throughout the year, a lot of state-ranked opponents, and have done well. A tough loss for them that keeps them at number 2 is the loss to Worcester. Worcester's got a great team. Lexington is phenomenal. I think certainly they are the team to beat in the area. But for me, that loss to Worcester was enough to keep them at number 2, which means number 1 then absolutely is Worcester. They are a fun team. They score. Brendan French is a terrific player, can score a lot of goals, in a hurry. Against Mansfield Senior, they won 3-0, and he scored 3 goals in the span of about 15 minutes. Had 2 right before the first half and 1 right at the beginning of the second half to make that 3-0 result final there. He's a terrific player. Worcester is a talented team. When you watch them play, there is just a confidence with Worcester. They move the ball well. They are fun to watch attack. They defend at a high level. They are a fun team and super talented at that. So that's our top 5 for the boys' side. Obviously, I love my Madison team out there. I've been giving them praise all season long, but they took a couple bad losses. Bad loss to Ontario a couple weeks ago. They're good. Don't get me wrong. Madison is really good. I think there's a chance they beat Mansfield Christian when they match up. I just think right now Mansfield Christian's number 5. Madison's on the outside looking in, but really close on the outside looking in. Which leads us to our boys' player of the week. Conor Hogger from Cleark had himself a game against Crestview. Scored five goals in 1 game. Now, a lot of things have to happen for this to be true. 1, you have to have the ability to do that, and he does. 2, you have to convince your coach that you can do that and have you let him do that. It is an impressive feat nonetheless. 5 goals is really an impressive feat. I know the game got a little lopsided, but it got lopsided because of what Conor did. 5 goals is great. He's a tremendous player, and that's why he is our boys' player of the week, coming in from Cleark. When we come back, it is time. It is finally time to look at the tournaments, the playoff preview, all the area sectionals. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk through some highlighting games. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stick with us. We'll be right back.
I got involved in officiating volleyball 8 years after I played Division I in college.
And I wanted to do more than just be a spectator. I wanted to get involved and give back to the sport that I've loved for so long.
I'm a speaker,
builder,
I coach,
culinary arts,
Auditor,
a firefighter,
and I'm a volleyball official.
officiating volleyball was something that helped me to reconnect to my roots.
Volleyball officiating will bring positive influences into your life along with lifelong friends.
I said yes to becoming a volleyball official so that I could give back to the game.
Saying yes to volleyball officiating will give you the privilege to be a part of one of the most exciting sports around.
Challenge yourself as a referee to always be the best you can be.
For anyone contemplating becoming a volleyball official,
Just go for it.
Take the plunge, open the door.
Stay on the court.
Just say yes.
say yes to officiating. Learn more about how to get involved at sayyes2officiating.com.
Welcome back to the Soccer Locker, and it is finally time. The time we've been waiting for all season long to look at the tournament preview. This is why all the teams play. Certainly conference championships are fun, but sectional championships, district championships, regional championships, and beyond is where all the real fun happens. So for those of you that are new to the kind of high school soccer tournament, here's some key things you need to know. The first thing is, unlike football, everybody qualifies. Every single high school team that's a part of OHSAA makes it to the state tournament. You are then seeded in your division and district. In soccer, there are 3 divisions on the boys' side, 3 divisions on the girls' side. The divisions are based upon school size, and then within those divisions, it's made up of sectionals that lead into districts, that lead into regionals, that lead into the state semifinals, and then the state finals. So it's a lot of teams, and here's what you really need to know. When you lose, your season is over. And so there is a lot on the line for high school soccer. So many teams gear up to be the last team standing. And I've had a chance to coach and play deep through these tournaments, and it is a lot of fun. The pressure you face, the stories you make, the memories you have are just some incredible experiences. So I absolutely love high school tournament soccer. And so we're going to look through each of the 6 sectionals that are in our area: boys Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, and girls Division 3, Division 2, Division 1. And so we'll look through these sectionals, look at some possible fun matchups that are coming your way, and that way you know what to watch out for. So we're going to start with boys Division 3. Not a lot of local teams in boys Division 3. Certainly the one we like to key in on, and one that is dear to my heart, is Mansfield Christian. So Mansfield Christian got the 3 seed in their bracket and opted to go on to the number 1 side of the bracket. So there's a matchup there, a potential rematch throughout the regular season against the Huron Tigers, who were the number 1 seed. But I will say, in all my years of watching this division, this might be the most even bracket from teams 1 to 10 I have seen in a long, long time. When you look at a team like Old Fort, who is the number 10 seed, knocked off some of the upper seeds. And so it's going to be interesting to look who comes out of these games. Oftentimes, the early games can get a little lopsided, especially with some of the teams that Mansfield Christian has had in the past, and some of these programs have really done a tremendous job of improving over the years. So I would say this is one of the most even brackets I've seen out of this Northwest District in a long, long time. But that rematch with Mansfield Christian and Huron, I think, is going to be a lot of fun, providing both teams can get there. Certainly, you can't look ahead to that, but there is a lot of fun matchups there. And Bluffton is a very talented team in this district as well, coming at the number 2 seed. So a lot of soccer there, a lot of talented teams. It's going to be interesting to see who can come out number 1 in the boys Division 3 sectional. Next, we're going to look at boys Division 2, and this is where usually you see a potential rematch of Lexington and Ontario. Now, obviously, Cleark would love to have a say in that. Norwalk will sometimes get some teams strong enough to compete at that level. Traditionally, the Sandusky Bay Conference isn't quite on the same level as the other conferences. Those teams, at times, will get a team to come out of this sectional and district, but for the most part, routinely, it is Lexington and Ontario. And so if you look at this sectional, Lexington is the number 1 seed, and all the other teams opted to try and stay away from Lexington. They know the ability that team has, the ability to score, they defend, they play so well. And so most of the teams chose to go down to the lower side and go against Ontario. But Ontario is certainly no slouch. I mean, they are a talented team, All-American and Gage Weaver. And so it's hard to not skip ahead and look at that potential rematch of Lex and Ontario. But there are some teams in there that certainly Clear Fork is going to give them a game. Norwalk is in there. Sometimes Perkins and Vermilion. Usually in that Sandusky Bay Conference, usually the top 4 teams are all within 1 goal of each other. And so you never really know how good they are until you get to see them in tournaments. So this could be one of those years when Sandusky Bay maybe sneaks a team in there. But my pick is that Lex-Ontario rematch is going to be a lot of fun. Looking at boys Division 1, featuring 2 local teams, and this is a tough district when you're sectional when you look at it. They call it the Northwest District. All 3 of these districts are the Northwest District, and so for a lot of them, you look at the Lex and Ontario, it's predominantly local teams. But the Ashland Madison group here features Findlay, Anthony Wayne, Toledo, Sandusky, Sylvania. I mean, they are all over the Northwest District, and so Ashland and Madison are in the same sectional here, but on opposite sides of the bracket. Madison got the 10 seed and will play Findlay, which will be a great matchup. 2 even teams, 2 good teams. And Ashland will play number 15 Oregon Clay, or excuse me, number 13 Fremont Ross. And if Ashland plays well, it should be a good win for Ashland. But that's why you play the games. You can't look ahead. But then if Ashland wins and Sylvania Southview wins, that's going to be quite the matchup in the second round here, looking at Southview versus Ashland. And, oh, yeah, Anthony Wayne, one of the top teams in the state of Ohio, is in that bracket as well. One of the interesting things to note here, and you saw this with Lexington as well, there are opportunities for teams to take a bye, or you can elect to play in the play-in game. Now, certainly, area coaches may have different strategies on this if you want to take the bye, or if you want to take that play-in game traditionally against a significantly weaker opponent, and sometimes it's a chance to maybe just stay fresh depending on how your schedule ends, keep players rotating in and out. And so you see a team like Anthony Wayne, the number 1 seed, opted for the play-in game and matches up against the number 16 team, Sandusky. And then will then face the number 17 seed, Toledo Bowser, after that. So a bit of an easy road there for Anthony Wayne. But again, you have to play the games. But sometimes those games get to be a little lopsided, just the way the coaches pick their sides. But that sectional, hoping that Madison can beat Findlay and then match up with Anthony Wayne would be a terrific game. And then for Ashland and Sylvania Southview, I mean, those are some fun games. Toledo area, Sylvania teams, they always have some high-level programs up there, and always just some great games, some great battles. So looking at the boys' side, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a competitive sectional, and to get the chance to really see who's going to come out of there. Certainly the favorite would be Anthony Wayne. Sylvania Southview would be a part of that, but Ashland in there as well. I mean, they can play. They, obviously they beat Lex. They've got some quality wins on their schedule, a couple bad losses, but if they can turn it on, this is a team that could come out of a very tough sectional. Let's go over to the girls' side now. Girls Division 3, and this is a very even sectional to look at. Bluffton with the number 1 seed. This features Crestview, Mansfield Christian, Gallion, a lot of different schools. One of the things that will be interesting to note is based on division, sometimes boys and girls could be in different divisions. So Gallion was Division 2 for boys, but is Division 3 for girls. And the same is true for Madison. Madison boys are Division 1. Madison girls are Division 2. And so it based on the number of boys or girls in that high school group. Every 2 years they do a count, and so you'll see teams kind of move up and down. And Madison's one of those teams. Sometimes they're in Division 2. This year they're in Division 1. And now, but we look at the girls' side, we see Gallion in Division 3, which is a relatively new area, matching up with Mansfield Christian, which should be a good game to start for Mansfield Christian. But it's going to be a tough road out there. 4 seed Milan Edison. You're looking at Bluffton, the 1 seed on their side. Crestview, who battled them to a double overtime loss in the conference championship game, is going to be in that sectional as well. But then the top side has Van Buren, Huron, Riverdale. A lot of quality competitive games coming out of the D3 sectional called the Bluffton District for the girls. Division 2. This is the one that everybody loves, everybody gets excited about, and that Madison has been so dominant in this division for so long. And so it'll be interesting, can they reign supreme, or will be there someone else to knock them off? So it starts with, we talked about that play-in game. Ontario elected for the play-in game and plays number 9 Shelby, and then followed by Tiffin Columbia. One of the games I'm really excited about, and certainly it won't get that maybe the highlights of the others, but that Mansfield Senior Sandusky Perkins game. That Mansfield Senior team they're a talented team. a little under the radar, maybe not quite to the level of the other local teams, but certainly a team that is competitive. Played Lexington very tight early on. They've got some players, and so I think Mansfield could end up matching up against Ontario in that sectional final there. It would be a great kind of test for Mansfield. I think a good learning experience. I don't think they're quite on Ontario's level, but I certainly think they're improved from years past. But the bottom side of this sectional is where all the fun happens. All these teams we've been talking about, so many close games, competitive games. So Madison plays Vermilion. You would expect Madison to come out on top, like we said about the Sandusky Bay. Occasionally, they'll have a team that's of the level of some of the other teams, and you just kind of wait and see come tournament time, where do they rank. Vermilion not with a lot of local opponents, so you don't really know until come tournament time. And so Madison and Vermilion, with the winner getting Lexington, and then after that, it's Cleark against Norwalk. And then the winner of that game will go on to the winner of the Lex-Madison-Vermilion game. And so there's a lot of quality matchups there. Obviously, one of the important tournament rules you have to remember as a player, coach, and fan is you have to win the game in front of you. It's easy to look ahead and start circling games in the district finals, district semifinals, or whatever that game may be. But it's the game in front of you that really matters. If you don't win that next game, then there is no other game after that. And so be able to focus on that and to look at that. So this is the one that's really exciting to look at. You've got Lexington, Cleark, Madison, Ontario, and kind of my underdog team, a little bit Mansfield Senior in the mix. I think this is going to be so much fun, getting to see these teams match up against each other one more time. Lex Ontario was a great game. Lex Cleark was a great game. Madison, Cleark, I mean, there's just so many competitive games back and forth throughout the season, and to get a chance to see it maybe one more time, and with everything on the line. If you lose, you're done. You win, you go on. This sectional is going to be a lot of fun. One more sectional to look at. That is Girls Division I in the Northwest District. This is a brutal, brutal sectional for Ashland. They play Holland Springfield, which is a winnable game for them. But then look at Sylvania Northview is next. Also in that, Perrysburg is one of the top teams in the state. Findlay is in there. I mean, there is some really quality soccer teams in this sectional. Ashland having a little bit of a down year for Ashland, so certainly it is going to be a tough road out for them. But it's why you play the game. It's why you train. Sometimes the right goal at the right moment can send your team through, and perhaps what seemingly might be the better team might go home early. This is why we love tournament soccer. This is really, it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to just kind of look at games. It puts so much pressure on that win or go home mentality. And so one of the things about that win or go home mentality is you need goals to win. And we love goals here at the OH Report. And so that's why it's time for our goals of the week on the Soccer Locker. So we've got some great goals here, 3 of them actually. The way you can pick your favorite goals, you can leave a message, comment below, whatever you like. Let us know which number is your favorite goal. But let's get right into it. The top 3 goals of the week on OH Report. Number 1, Davis Wushinskie from Mansfield Christian against Marion Harding. This was the game where Mansfield Christian just kind of peppered Marion Harding's goal. He just got shot after shot after shot. And then Davis Wushinskie, you see right here, drills it upper 90. Just a nice little touchback there and finishes in the top corner. What a great goal from Mansfield Christian. That's coming at number 1 for our goal of the week. Number 2 from Worcester. You could almost go take your pick. He had a hat trick on the night, 3 goals in about 15 minutes. But this one, so smooth. Just the chemistry of when you watch this Worcester team, they are so much fun to watch. They move the ball. They're so smooth. It's just fun to watch the way they play. Here's a great goal. You see the buildup they had and just the quality finish. Worcester is the type of team they can do a lot of good things. They can score some goals. You got to watch out for them come the postseason time as well. And then number 3, Will Perkins, Lexington against Cleark. What a goal. You just see no angle here, but he gives himself an angle. You can pick power, you can pick placement, or if you're Will Perkins, you can pick both. And then not only that, but the celebration after the finish here, you'll see great goal, but then a great celebration. You don't see a ton of that. It just makes it fun. So you can comment below 1, 2, or 3. Which one is your goal of the week? Well, that is all the time we have here for this Soccer Locker on the OH Report. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.